The illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. Emotional intelligence must also be a part of the curriculum in the law schools. I think it is necessary. Yuval Noah Harari, in his 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, writes that from time immemorial, life was broadly divided into two complementary parts. In the first part, a person accumulates information, develops skills, builds a suitable identity. In the second part of his life, such a person relies upon his accumulated skills and evolved identity to navigate the world, earn a living and contribute to the society. However, the immense and unpredictable changes coupled with longer lifespans will make this traditional model completely obsolete. Whatever you learn today becomes obsolete. So you have to unlearn, learn afresh and so on. To give you an example, the debate about whether machines would render humans obsolete gained prominence in the 1980s at the onset of the digital revolution. At that time, one of the arguments against obsolescence was met with the example of facial recognition. It was argued that even babies are adopted to facial recognition, but the most powerful computers on the earth then available were not. Today we take facial recognition software almost for granted. In the 1980s it was said that no computer would ever beat a human at chess because it was purely a mind game. In 1996 itself, the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue defeated the world chess champion Garry Kasparov with relative ease. At least I knew Amazon's Kindle as a book reading apparatus storing several books digitally. But I did not know that Kindle is able to and constantly collects data from users while they are reading the books. It can now monitor which parts of the book made you read fast, which slow, on which page you took a break, and on which sentence you abandoned the book never to pick it up again. I now hear that Kindle is upgraded with facial recognition and biometric sensors to record which portion of the book made you laugh, which portion made you sad or angry. That means very soon the books will read you while you are reading the books. Now friends, please imagine the impact of such a software on the relation between, say, lawyers and judges. Imagine, for instance, the advantage to a lawyer who has access to information on those aspects of their pleadings or legal arguments that most resonate with a judge. Imagine if lawyers were to access information about the type of arguments that appeal to a particular judge or the arguments which were carefully considered, pondered, or those which were dismissed without a hesitation. Friends, kindly note that algorithms are watching you even at this instant. They are watching where you go, what you buy, whom you meet. They are monitoring your steps, all your breaths and all your heartbeats. They rely on the big data and machine learning to get to know you better and better. And once the machines get to know you better than yourself, they would obviously be equipped to control you and even manipulate you. There would be nothing much you could do about it. In the end, it is a simple empirical method. If the algorithms indeed understand what is happening within you better than what you yourself understand it, then the authority will shift to them. Analyzing a judge is no longer the stuff of some science fiction movie. I understand that in the US, there is already a software which analyzes the probabilities of the side on which a judge may lean regarding a particular issue, based no doubt on the data bank of previously decided cases, writings, speeches, life history, etc. Computers now not only have great amounts of data, but they have vastly superior ability to marshal and evaluate such data in a scientific manner. In short, legal education will henceforth have to prepare the next generation to cope with challenges that they have never encountered before, such as super intelligent machines, engineered bodies, and algorithms that can manipulate your emotions with an uncanny precision. Friends, technology is great if you are clear about what you want in life, if you are firmly grounded in values and traditions. But if you are not clear, it will be easy for technology to take control of your life. With the pace at which technology is advancing, you might increasingly find yourself serving technology instead of technology serving you. Friends, have we all not seen several people on the streets glued to their smartphones? Have we not experienced genuinely smart law graduates even refusing to look at bare acts, trying to understand what the section says, trying to interpret that section, but rushing to their smartphones to find out scores of precedents on that subject? Do you really think that they control technology, or is it technology controlling them? Friends, Martin Luther King, in a slightly different context, said in the early 1960s that our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Therefore, whilst I do not dispute in the least the inevitability of assimilating technology in our lives, it would be a sad day if we were to mortgage our ability to think and our ability to make intelligent and sensitive choices to a machine or an algorithm. It would be a sad day if we atrophy our thinking faculties and wipe out completely the difference between a human being and a machine. I am conscious of the school of thought that argues that there is no harm if the humans cede their intellectual autonomy to technology. Perhaps the time may prove them right or wrong. All that I say is that these are matters which should be thought about, their pros and cons deliberated. These are not matters which we should accept without any discussions or discourses simply because they are presently expedient. Friends, we may not be able to control the winds, but we can surely adjust our sails. As it is, we live in an age which is extremely proud of its machines that think, but extremely suspicious of humans who even attempt to think. Legal education must embrace technology, but it must not allow machines to rob humankind of its humanity. You may regard me as old-fashioned, but I do think that legal education will now have to go to the basics and re-emphasize that the practice of law is not a business, but it is a profession. It is a noble profession in which finer elements of public service, creativity, sensitivity, compassion, consciousness are not mere irrelevancies. This profession is concerned intimately with humans in flesh and blood, with emotions and psychology. The litigants and the briefs are not some raw material in an assembly line set up by a lawyer or a firm of lawyers. Therefore, personally, I am a little alarmed when fresh graduates speak about startups and marketing strategies. I may be wrong in my discomfort. I may be reeling under the influence of an outdated bias. I genuinely do not know. All that I say is that legal education must at least be alive to such concerns and address them and then move on. Gone are the days when legal education would bombard law students with loads of information or data. Their memory was put to test more than their capacity to reason. With the march of technology, that would be unnecessary and even superfluous. The focus must now be on principles, not just existing and established principles, but if necessary, challenging the established principles and evolving new principles. The focus must be to encourage creativity and critical thinking. The focus must be to inculcate virtues of independence and courage. These are essentials to the making of a good lawyer. And I do not know whether technology is going to be of great help in helping the lawyers to cultivate these essential traits. It is only with the capacity to think clearly, independently, fearlessly, that a student will have a chance to sift, discern, and if necessary, reject ideas and ideologies that are perpetually inflicted by, say, mass media tools that are growing powerful every hour. A few decades ago, the world was at war against WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. Today, television, social media, or mass media have become the new WMDs, weapons of mass distraction, not destruction. Friends, the virtues of courage and fearlessness go a long way towards making a good lawyer. Courage is the greatest of all virtues, because if you have no courage, you may not have the opportunity to use any of your other virtues. It was Thomas Jefferson who famously said that one man with courage is the majority. Physical bravery is admirable in certain circumstances, but they say that physical bravery is primarily an animal instinct. Moral bravery is much higher and it takes courage. Friends, let me digress a bit, but I must say it today that right from the day I was appointed as a judge, Justice Oak, who is with us today, literally mentored me. He taught me as well as several other judges that he has mentored by his example. Justice Oak has several praiseworthy virtues, but one of the best virtues that appealed to me was his fearlessness and courage in the most of trying times. And let me tell you, friends, that there were several such trying times from which he triumphed with utmost grace and dignity. And what was important, without the slightest hint of any bitterness or rancor or acrimony. Friends, I always think that Josiah Gilbert Holland, who wrote his famous poem, was written to fit Justice Oak, and permit me to quote it. It says, "God give us men a time like this demand, strong minds, great hearts, true faith and ready mind. Men whom the lust of office does not kill, men whom the spoils of office cannot buy, men who possess opinions and a will, men who have honor, men who will not lie, men who can stand before a demagogue and damn his treacherous flatteries without a winking, tall men, sun-crowned men who live above the fog." Justice Oak, I do not know in Delhi whether you can, in Delhi today we understand that it is very difficult to live above the fog or the smog. But we are very proud that Justice Oak from our court has lived up to these lines which Josiah Gilbert Holland has written. And now it is imperative that legal education strives to create such lawyers and such judges like Justice Oak. These virtues of courage, honesty, free and independent thinking or creativity can never be outdated or outmoded. They will remain, or must at least remain, essential attributes of a good lawyer, unless of course we collectively decide that legal practice need not continue as a noble profession, but it can very well be accepted as a business or a money-spinning venture, where unfortunately a different set of ethics can be applied. Therefore, legal education, even for the 21st century lawyers, must, while equipping such a lawyer with all the boons of technology and globalization, strive to see that such lawyers remain anchored to values, core values, and virtues that are essential attributes of a good lawyer. These views may sound outmoded, sentimental, and not world-wise. I do not wish to be judgmental, but all that I say is that do not make a hasty judgment. Do give these aspects the benefit of deliberation and even a debate. Then if they are to be buried, so be it. At least such thoughts would then have the satisfaction of a decent and a dignified burial. If I have sounded a little pessimistic, let me tell you that pessimism was never my intention. I am extremely proud of our digital revolution. I have no doubt that our generation next has a bright future and a capacity to make the future even brighter. We must look to the future because that is where we are going to spend the rest of our lives. I have firm faith in the virtues of humanity and humanism and the resilience of humankind. Some of the concerns expressed by me will cease to be concerns if we embrace technology with an open mind, but at the same time if we do not sacrifice core values like consciousness, sensitivity, professional ethics, creativity and courage. I thank the Goa High Court Bar Association for organizing today's function. They do great service by organizing such functions and the several functions that they have been organizing for the last few years. There is a complaint against those of our generation that we may not have left much of a future for our youth. That may or may not be correct, but such functions show that we are at least making an effort to prepare our youth for the future. The efforts of the Goa High Court Bar Association, the efforts that the Goa High Court Bar Association has put in to organize this program, and the very presence of Justice Oak and Justice Karnik in our midst, and the respected Vice Chancellors, despite their extremely busy schedules, is a sure testimony to this commitment. Thank you very much.